Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Wednesday, June 17th, 2020, and welcome to this week's installment of our Wednesday CiiRUS webinar. We're very excited to be joining you now on Wednesdays going forward, once a week, to bring you all the latest information about new features with CiiRUS, new partnerships with CiiRUS, and delivering value to you guys, our property management companies who trust CiiRUS with their software services. So the ethos of this series as we go forward is just, like I said, delivering value, going through all the new features and new partnerships in the CiiRUS platform, and just bringing you education to make sure you can be as successful as possible as a CiiRUS customer. My name is Josh Parry. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at CiiRUS, and if you're wondering what I do, it's a lot of this. I love talking to you guys, and we enjoy reaching you just about once a week on this platform. And I spend most of the rest of my time communicating with property management companies and with our team here at CiiRUS to make sure that you guys are getting the best experience. So my pleasure to join you as always. I'm joined by some really incredible guests today. As always, I have my co-host Brian Hamawi, who I'm going to throw to in just a second. And we also have Rachel Tabion from Home2Go. We're really excited about this conversation because Home2Go has been an emerging force on the OTA landscape for quite some time now. And in 2020, their stated focus to us is just working harder with CiiRUS customers and property management companies around the States, just to bring them a different experience and a different type of OTA platform that sets itself apart from the usual. CiiRUS customers are very used to distribution through our platform, and now we have another great partner to bring to the table. So we're going to talk a lot about Home2Go today, but before we do, I want to introduce, as always, my co-host, CiiRUS's VP of Marketing, Brian Hamawi. How's it going, Brian?
Hey, Josh. Good to be here another Friday.
Oh, it's a Wednesday this time, though, right?
Today is a Wednesday. Well, switched it up on me, so that's not good.
Look behind me, look.
It is. I am so used to doing webinars on Fridays. We're getting out of this whole COVID thing and now switching into gear. So from Fridays to Wednesdays, excited to be here on a Wednesday. So yeah, I'm excited to be here with Rachel and talk a little bit about Home2Go. This is a great platform. If you guys don't know too much about it, I've watched them over the years and worked with some of their partners in the past. And I'm really excited to see the evolution of the actual platform coming to the US and bringing us new eyes, fresh eyes marketing to our ecosystem. So happy for this conversation.
Absolutely. Well, let's not bury the lead. Let's introduce our special guest today. We have Rachel Tabion. How's it going, Rachel?
Hi guys. It's going great. I also feel like a Friday today, so I think there's something in the air, I guess, probably, right? That doesn't make it like a Wednesday. I don't know, just a feeling. I'm on vacation actually next week, so maybe that's the vibe I get. Thanks so much, guys. So hi everyone who will be listening to this recording. My name is Rachel. I take care of business development for Home2Go, sales, working with great property managers, but also working very closely with CiiRUS. I'm personally very, very excited to be here today and moving forward with our partnership with CiiRUS. We met already, we did a couple of amazing things together, and this webinar is actually a new step. So super excited to be here. I am sitting in Berlin, Germany, if you're wondering about my accent. And yeah, super excited to be here and to have this great program that we're gonna announce today as well.
Fantastic.
That's awesome. Well, what do you say we dive into a little bit about Home2Go?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, Rachel, tell us a little bit about Home2Go. I mean, CiiRUS has a huge array of distribution partners. What makes Home2Go different from all of the other OTA softwares in our marketplace? And why should our customers be as excited as we are to see our partnership come to fruition?
Yeah, that's a really good question, right? Because I know as a property manager, you have this amazing software like CiiRUS. You can do so many great things with it, and so kind of understanding a little bit what is everyone doing is probably key and crucial. So I would say that we bring two main things, and that's why we like to call us a new generation OTA, because first of all, we bring the exposure, right? This is usually what you're after when you want to distribute, when you want to diversify your revenue streams as well. So you want to make sure you always get those bookings, and you get those bookings from different sources. You don't want to put all of your eggs into the same basket. So it's obviously very important. You want to get your brand out there, so this is definitely something we can bring. We are a European company, but we've actually grown a lot in the US in the last couple of years. And as you mentioned it already, Josh, the US has been our main focus for the last year or so. So we have great traffic and a lot of bookings to bring for the US. But we also bring international travelers, which might sound a little bit weird at the moment to be, mentioning it. But our data is actually showing that the international travelers are still booking. Obviously, a small fraction, but still booking. But they are booking for next year already, right? So it's really nice to have this kind of mixture of focusing on the domestic travelers. We bring that, but also the international travelers. So this is the kind of exposure we bring. And the second point, we know property managers also are very wary usually about, all right, I get those extra bookings, I get this extra exposure, but at which costs? I'm not just talking about the commission, I'm talking about control, right? Am I losing control? Is kind of my business, going out of hands. And this is the second point we bring. So we bring exposure, but we also bring control. And this is something our clients and potential clients are really excited about and usually very surprised about, because they're not used to that with OTAs in general. So giving you a couple of examples, if a booking happens on HomeToGo, the payout is immediate for property managers, which is pretty awesome for cash flow, obviously, reasons, especially right now. And regarding those international travelers I was telling you about, just a quick example as well on that. Well, they book in advance, they spend on average $300 more, and you get the cash right away, but it's for next year. So, this kind of control over cash flow is something they're really interested in. Don't have to wait for check-in or anything. Control as well when it comes to guest communication. Especially at the moment, you have to make those arrangements with your guests. You wanna, they wanna call you, they wanna ask questions, you wanna let them know about, maybe a new process you have to hand in the keys. Well, with HomeToGo, you actually, as a property manager, get all the contact details, your direct contact with your guests. So this is also something they really like. And I would say the last point is actually related to, everything related to cancellation policies, terms and conditions, those things that have evolved so much in the last month. We actually use the cancellation policies and terms and conditions from the property managers when the booking is happening. So that's great because it means flexibility as well for them, but again, control, right? So it's this mixture of, hey, I'm gonna, get access to guests I wouldn't otherwise be able to access myself as a property manager and get those extra bookings and this extra revenue stream. But at the same time, I still have the control over my business. And I think this is really something that has become even more crucial during the pandemic, right? This kind of, wow, so many things are changing now. I really want to have the tools to be able to control my bookings, control my communication, also control my cancellation policy. The last point, fast onboarding, and that's also kudos to you guys at CiiRUS because, thanks to the great integration that we have, there is no fuss about, oh yeah, I want to work with HomeToGo, but oh my God, it's going to take, 2 months to get live. No, we have fast onboarding. It's usually, within a week. So you guys are super responsive about that. Thanks so much. And yeah, that's just really great experience for the property managers as well. So this is really something they can activate now and, benefit from right now.
That's great. I think you've hit on a couple of really big key points for us. One, and something that we've honed in the past, Josh, is one of the most important things for our property managers, and I say this all the time, is don't get stuck with one OTA. You need to diversify your portfolio. To be successful in this industry, look outside of just those barriers that you guys have set up and look at so many different markets, so many options for you guys. One of the things that I really, really enjoyed about what you just described is the fact that you guys are so flexible. And so you're not dictating what the PMs, property managers, are, how they're supposed to do business. You're basically giving them the tools to enable them to be successful in the industry and get in front of people. And that for me is really exciting. You're working with different payment systems. Your payouts are immediate. Your cancellation policies are really flexible. And so from my perspective, that just puts us in front of success, right? And so I'm excited. I know you guys have some awesome programs coming out, and Josh is going to have some insight to that in a second. But thank you for that explanation. I think it was awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. I think it's really important what you just mentioned, because eventually, if I want to kind of sum it up, we try to, and I do believe we achieve that, to offer only the kind of advantages, let's say, of the OTAs, without the drawbacks that usually property managers are a bit wary of. So I think that's really what we definitely have in mind. And what you mentioned about the tools, I think that's a really good point. We really want to enable property managers, right, to get those bookings, but don't force them into anything.
I think in this
The other
environment.
thing is, oh, go ahead, Josh.
No, Brian, you go ahead. I've got to follow up.
Okay. The other thing is we see a lot of international travel, especially to the Orlando market. So we are accustomed to receiving international travel here. One of the things that I find about what we're currently doing is we have a lot of national travel, and opening up our doors to international travel also means that we're going to see more revenue because the stays tend to be a lot longer than domestic travel. And so the opportunity with you guys is bigger revenue, longer stays, bigger margins. So it's great. It's fantastic. What were you going to say, Josh? Sorry, before I cut you off.
No, you're fine. I was just going to kind of echo a lot of what you said right there anyhow, but just kind of emphasize that by being a user of the CiiRUS platform, a lot of these concepts that we're talking about are just so easy to execute. Like Rachel mentioned, the onboarding being simple through our joint team effort is one thing, but also just as you diversify that portfolio of guests and the geography of the guest, something that CiiRUS does really well, which we can share with you guys some training material about after the webinar, is you can actually, if you wanted to have a different, description or a different policy or even a different price to suit these different guest demographics that come from the different sites, you're able to do that. So when you connect to Home to Go and you realize, okay, I'm getting a lot of European guests from this site, maybe I should take a look, and I'm going to call the Home to Go team and say, guys, what do you find that this European traveler really looks for in a holiday? You guys can start packaging that into those descriptions that you send to Home to Go. And maybe if you wanted to, change the ethos of the listing or the title of the listing on that site to best hone into that guest, CiiRUS makes that extremely easy. And the whole process with Home to Go, through their team with the onboarding, has been super impressive. And it means a lot, kind of come from our onboarding team to tell us that, because we work with so many different sites. It's exciting when, and a promising new partnership comes along and it is this straightforward. So just wanted to speak to that briefly, but the question that we always get naturally, and it's the right question to ask, is, okay, so what does it take for me to accomplish this? What are the costs? What are the intricacies of the program? And I was really excited last week. We were able to share some cool information from you guys about Home to Go's Bounce Back program. And I just think I'll let you speak about it in a minute, but I thought it was a really cool extension of goodwill to vacation rental managers, many of which have been hurting during the pandemic and coming out of it now. They're looking for new revenue streams and ways to bring in new types of guests at a lower cost. So can you just announce, for those of the audience who aren't aware of it, announce what the Bounce Back program is and what it means for you guys as partners with the management companies to offer something this exciting?
Of course. Yeah, this is a program that's really close to my heart, because we've been working on it for some weeks now. So it's been extremely spontaneous. It's been exactly the kind of decision, that you take and program that you set up dynamically, kind of, reacting to the situation and to the industry and what's happening. So to briefly, explain what it's about, and then I go into details a bit later. We're talking about 0% commission fee until the end of the year, right? That's really the tagline, and it's actually not much more complicated than that. But to the context, maybe in a kind of history of this program, a couple of months ago, nothing, everyone was in the same situation. We got hit by COVID-19 as well. It was also a hard time for our company, right? Even if we are a big company. And after this kind of first wave, of shock, just to, checking internally, okay, how are we? Everything is fine, and everything is actually fine now. We were lucky to be resisting quite well. Where we ask ourselves, okay, how can we help, our property managers, and how can we help, especially new clients who would like to start working with us, but who, for several reasons, like having to reduce their staff, or just simply being too busy at the moment, or wary of, trying something new, because we know, it's a hard time. So you come up with this company, maybe you don't really know about, and obviously there is a commission you have to pay. So you definitely need to crunch, the numbers first and kind of take a decision. And you just have so much on your mind. It's just not the right moment for that. So we're thinking like, okay, how can we help these guys? The second question was, okay, what can we do, right? What's really in our power? But also first, what was super important was to know and to ask ourselves, okay, what can we do that help? Like really, what's going to be really efficient? Because it's not just, to say we're in this together, but actually to prove it and to use the fact that we are a larger company, so we can actually absorb probably slightly, more easily that kind of waves and that kind of shocks. So very easily, we said, hey, let's make it for free. And there is no hidden fees. I'm probably going to get questions on that, and I'm very happy to answer those questions. But there is no hidden fees. There is no commitments. There is no small print saying, if you disconnect, we're going to charge you something. There is nothing like that, right? So we wanted to make it efficient, impactful, but also making a real difference. But still sticking to what's important to us, which is, hey, we want to enable you to get those bookings. But eventually we have to prove ourselves. You like it, you stay. You don't like it, you just stop working with us, right? So, and you get the same perks as any, I would say, normal connection outside of the promotion, right? So immediate payouts, as we mentioned earlier, direct communication, fast onboarding as well. So that was really what kind of led us to this bounce back program. This is specifically for US property managers. This is also a way to show that we are there for real and that we really want to help as much as we can. So yeah, that's actually the idea behind it.
Really, really cool. Like I've not to use too much hyperbole, I haven't seen a major OTA offer a program like this before. That's really attractive. So
let's see now if they all do the same.
I was going to ask you that question. In the life of CiiRUS, since you've been in the industry, Josh, have you ever seen a program that offers no fees to the PMs? Because I've never seen it. So this for me was really, really exciting. And it really does show that you guys are working for the PMs, which is something that a lot of companies haven't done.
Yeah, right. That eventually really came down to okay, what can we do to help? Right? We there are many things we can't do. There are many things we're not experts in. But like when it comes to the commission, this is something we can work on, right? And this is again, we really had the luck to not suffer too much. And the results we see right now in terms of rebound are really absolutely amazing. So we thought, what, let's share a little bit, a bit of this luck as well with the industry, with property managers. This is something we can do, right? If we couldn't do it, I mean, not everyone can do it. That's totally fine. But we believe that if your business is based on a certain type of partners, well, that's also your responsibility to give that back a little bit when you can. And obviously that can have like a property manager start working with us and trying out our platform. It's just a win-win situation, I would say, for both sides.
Yeah, combine that with the easy onboarding on this end. Guys, if you're listening and this looks interesting to you, which I think it absolutely will. It's not difficult to get going. We've got it. You can see it on the just shared a document here on the screen.
Yeah.
We've got an easy form provided by Home2Go that we'll send you all a link to through the software pop-up. It's as simple as just filling out that form, and you guys can get listed and try out the new connection. And Rachel, how long is the offer valid? When do they have to sign up by?
Oh yeah. Thanks for reminding me. So it's 0% until the end of the year, but you have to sign and activate your properties by the end of July. Okay. So if you have any questions, any issues, any worries or whatever, you just reach out to us. You reach out to CiiRUS, but we can also support you for sure. Please sign the connection form, activate your properties, and generally just reach out to us before the end of July to make sure you're part of this promotion.
I like the fact that you guys have a deadline for us to get this done. Motivate our property managers to go. So
well, honestly, yeah, but we know that as well personally, right? You know that when you're like, oh yeah, I've got still 3 months to do this, and then you're like a week before the deadline, and you're like, shoot, I still haven't done that. So we thought, that's a good reminder on the calendar. Hey, you've got what, like a little bit less than 2 months to take care of that. I think it's fair. I think it's a fair time frame for everyone.
Which is plenty of time. I think, guys, bringing on new platforms, a lot of you guys are sometimes a little bit nervous about the amount of work that goes into it. We've done a fairly significant amount of work with this integration to make it as easy as possible. Our team is highly trained as well, so don't feel stuck. Again, we're going to tell you guys that you have resources behind you. CiiRUS is putting effort into understanding HomeToGo's platform, how to, bring your descriptions, what should your pricing look like. So if you guys have questions on how to get some of this stuff up and running, reach out to our team as well. We are trained to help you get loaded onto the platform and be successful on it. So yeah, we're excited for this.
We are super excited too. Really, it's something we've been working on a lot, very hard to bring it as fast as possible as well out, right? Because we also wanted to be, ready for the property managers as well to start benefiting from it. So it's just a great achievement to be able to present this today. Really, really appreciate your support on this as well, guys.
Awesome.
Likewise, we see this as you guys making an investment in CiiRUS and its customers. So we're very happy to provide a platform for you to start growing with CiiRUS customers, and we hope you guys will try it out.
Awesome.
Yeah, back to you, Brian. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, no problem at all. So let's talk a little bit about some of the trends that you guys are seeing. I'm interested to see, you're a different platform than our customers are used to seeing or being put in front of. You also in other markets that we're accustomed to studying, and we have a lot of travelers coming from, but we've never really had a connection to this type of traveler coming through a platform like yours. So can you tell us some of the trends that you guys are seeing, some of the guest psychology? What data patterns are you actually, can you tell our property managers about the customer set that you're bringing forward, and how can they apply their knowledge base, their properties, their pricing models so that they can attract the right customer through your platform?
Yeah, well, I think it's a very relevant question given that we have several millions properties live on our platform. Excuse me. In total, we actually work with, I think we are at 1,600 property managers, of all sizes that are live on our platform. So you can imagine the amount of data we're able to crunch and draw conclusion and look at trends. And this is something we also have, by the way, on a dedicated page on our website. So also happy to share that with anyone would be interested in this. Long story short. Yes, we do see certain trends that are very strongly evolving. They have been evolving throughout the pandemic, and now we kind of see what's really the new normal, I would say. And I think that's we have, like, I would say maybe 4 to 5 different points that we see. I mean, the first one is definitely, as I also mentioned a little bit earlier, domestic travel. So just kind of drive to destinations. This is huge. This is really happening. So to give you a number, so right now in the US market, it's 90% domestic travel. Last year at the same time, it was 65%. So that's very strong. So those drive to destinations are very relevant right now. What does it mean as well? Well, it means that also for property managers, it's important to keep in mind that there are travelers out there right now whose plans have been cancelled. They were planning to go somewhere else. They were planning to go further away. They were planning to go to, abroad or something like this. They are not to anymore. So they are browsing. They are searching for inspiration, and they are typically, going to bigger platforms to do so. So capitalizing really on those undecided travelers and getting them really early on, in the kind of decision process is super important. Putting, your properties in front of those guys early enough when they are still kind of wondering where should I go. So the first thing we see is really domestic travel. And as you mentioned, Brian, being a European company, so also having a very strong foothold in Europe. And we know with the pandemic, we've been hit earlier than you guys in the US, meaning we have a couple of weeks ahead, in the kind of evolution of the pandemic. Here in Germany, we've been quite lucky because it's been relatively okay, I would say. And now the lockdown is pretty much over. We see tremendous amount of traffic and bookings. This is insane. I mean, we are at levels we have never seen before. So it's all-time high. And the US is actually taking kind of the same direction. So not talking about the pandemic itself, but about like user behavior. We see like, if we compare to 2 months ago, certain states, they have, we were looking at the number earlier today, they had an increase of 700% in like searches and bookings. So
wow.
this is insane.
Yeah.
This is insane. So international travel, we already, I think, mentioned this, but this is also something we see, this kind of booking in advance. And what we tell our property managers is open up your calendars. Please, please, please have your calendars ready for next year, even the year after, because some people are already booking in advance, right? So that would be too bad that they don't, get to see those properties. The next one is definitely flexibility. That's a big trend that we see, right? Like, and that's an interesting mixture because there is the spontaneity kind of okay, I'm going to travel this weekend spontaneously with my family, getting out of the city, but also staying longer, so longer stays as well. And we see all of those numbers are way like 20 to 30% higher than last year at the same time. So we see that people are, traveling, like average day to check-in date is way shorter than last year, but average length of stay is actually longer than last year. So it's just the kind of profile of those bookings that's evolving, and that is super important as for the property managers to understand. Okay, how does that translate into what I can do about my business and my properties? It means two things. It means try to be as much as possible flexible on the cancellation policy. So we see, for instance, I know it's not always possible, but for everyone, but we see a 80% conversion increase for properties with recancellation option. That is very strong. That is a real eye catcher for travelers. So yeah, being flexible in the cancellation, generally TNCs and things like that. But also, when it comes to how many days, do you allow your guests to stay? I mean, you should also definitely remove, any restrictions that you have on that, I'd say. So, anything like, hey, there is a minimum stay, there's a maximum stay. If you can, please, I would really encourage any property manager out there and listening to us today to really try to be even more flexible about that and stop kind of those constraints if possible, because short stays, long stays. I mean, you have people who are literally, move into a house, like another house, renting out a house just to be working from there. Got plenty of friends in my, personally as well, who are doing this. So super important to be very flexible about that. And the last point, because I have so many, but okay, I'm gonna stop there. It's definitely.
God, this is super valuable. Keep going.
Yeah, I find it just so interesting with tons of data. So anyone who wants some more data, bring it on. We can help you out with that. Obviously, everything related to the cleaning process. This is, it's nothing new. We've been talking about that for 2-3 months, but what I mean about that is that we see property managers, they do a tremendous job in terms of cleaning processes, in terms of making sure they have really high standards, but they don't show it on the description. They don't show it on their offers. So please make it obvious. If it's costing more, like just mark it as such. This is just building trust as well with the guest. So I think, yeah, these are, I would say, the highlights that we see and the kind of trends that we see. It's a big change, right? But the good thing is business isn't dead, really. It's just different, right? So that's, I'd say, the new normal way we are seeing now. And anytime anyone has a question on those data, we are super happy to help. Have some more, many more.
I'm going to have tons of questions after this on data.
Also,
it's one of my favorite things about this industry right now is the amount of data that's coming, the way our customers are starting to change, their behaviors are changing, the way they book is changing. And so I think it's really, really important for our customers, especially as a property manager, right? You're running a hospitality business. One of the core things for you guys to understand is the data and the customer trends. If you don't understand that, it's absolutely pivotal. It's the core of your business to understand how people are consuming your product. You are selling a product. And so if you have partners that are willing to share data with you, like Home to Go, CiiRUS is willing to do it, ask us for the data, learn, and then apply it to your business. And that is going to make you so successful just trying to understand it. I think I spend 20% of my day trying to understand guest behavior, consumer patterns, and then working with OTAs and platforms to see how our managers can transact better so that we can develop the right platforms for you guys. And it feels like you guys are doing the exact same thing. So it's great.
Yeah, and I mean, especially as an industry, right? Like the VR industry, that is such, like, that's one of our strengths, right? Like this being able to actually be so reactive. We're not like a big hotel chain or something like that, right? We can implement those changes really quickly, and we have such an incredible advantage, because holiday rent, like vacation rentals, are going to be and are already the option number one in these times, and they're going to stay like that because it's not it's not just a flu. It's gonna stay for a while, unfortunately. So people, customers and travelers, they, if they want a reliable accommodation option, where they can, have this social distancing as well, they can go with their family, and have this kind of, many options that they can choose from. This is the VR industry. So I think there is a really super important card to be played as VR professionals.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree with more.
A couple of things I want to pull out as well, and one of them might be a little bit redundant, but I just think it's so important for me to highlight, is just about everything that you just suggested that the management companies do. For example, easing minimum and maximum restrictions, cancellation policies, so on, rate updates. All of those things are things that if you, just like we talked about with bounce back, if those are things that, they're experimental to you and you're not sure about exactly how they work, those are things that you can do on a site-by-site basis. And as Rachel's here telling you that, they have data that shows that those things work on home to go, try them on home to go. You don't have to break what works for you on other sites. You may find that those things that work on home to go do work for you on other sites as well, but CiiRUS, the platform, actually makes it really easy for you to try things on different channels and be flexible in a very similar way as Rachel was just saying home to go is being flexible. In response, the software allows you to interface with and work with these programs in that way. So I just wanted to circle back on that. And the other thing, before I throw to you both for your closing words, my closing word is this, and it's very similar in vein what we've talked about with other topics, Brian, is just that we know we ask a lot of you guys, the management companies. We're asking you to look at all these different things and a lot of the new features that are coming out. We understand that it's a lot, and we make resources available to you, so you can ask us questions, you can dig deep with us, you can do training. We're here for you guys, so don't get intimidated at face value. But if there are things that you want to achieve that just due to the pandemic, overhead expense is a problem, we know that. Human resource is a problem, we know that. We do have programs on the CiiRUS platform where we can take a lot of that burden off of you from a human standpoint. And maybe, Brian, you can touch on that briefly, but there's a lot we can do for you. So if you're anxious in any sense about handling all these moving parts and how it's going to work for your business, just ask, because the likelihood is we have a solution and we can make it work for you. And
yeah, I mean, it's
on that note, Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, we just have all of the resources built in. We're going to have resources pages built out for you guys. So don't feel shy about using us and our teams and Home to Go's teams to be able to be successful on these platforms. One of the things that I learned as well, just to quickly hit on something that you said earlier, Josh, is that if it's not broken, don't fix it, right? There are a lot of proven models. Home to Go's done a lot of testing for you guys. They know what's going to work and what's going to be successful on their platform. Ask them, what's successful? How does it work? And how can I make some money attracting customers to my houses? That's what they're there for. They want to see you guys succeed, and you can see it through some of these initiatives that they're putting together. This program is specifically designed for you guys to be able to generate new revenue, bring customers, and we're bringing customers that have much longer stays. So again, it increases the amount of success that you guys are going to have by increasing the length of stay, reducing your expenses over a period of time. It's such a great program. But Josh, I'm going to say the same thing as you. Don't be shy. Hit up our team. If you've got questions, don't get stuck. We're here to help you guys out.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian. And Rachel, same to you. Any closing feedback or final bits of information for our customers before we sign off?
Yeah, I mean, first point, guys, again, data, we've got tons of data. Just reach out. really happy to pull anything for you. We actually putting together a newsletter we're going to send out regularly. So if you'd like to be on this newsletter, please send me an email, send us an email, and we're going to make sure you receive this. So you receive the kind of information I shared with you today, data-wise, what are the trends we see in the US, elsewhere. And any piece of data you'll be particularly interested in, share that with us. And eventually it's just trends and information we want to be very insightful for property managers. So just yeah, tell us about this. And I would say, I mean, for me, my really closing thought, and that's what I've seen personally and professionally, within Home to Go, but also with our partners in the last month, and a learning for me from the whole pandemic is really about adaptation and really about understanding, okay, what are, as Brian, I'm really going to use this word now way more often, tools. What are the tools that I can use as a property manager to adapt, right? And to make sure that whatever the new normality is, well, you property managers are just ready for it. And this is really, in a very humble way, what we're trying to achieve here, giving you this tool to adapt and just make the best of this program. No hidden fees. Again, I'd like to mention that again. And if you have questions, we are there for you. And big kudos to you guys. Thanks so much. It's always a great pleasure to be with you, Josh and Brian, and do that kind of webinars with you. Not the last one.
Pleasure is ours, and we're going to be sharing, guys, just like Rachel said, so that you can reach out to the Home to Go team if you have any questions. We have an email address, channel.manager@hometogo.com. We'll share that on the landing page when this webinar gets published. We're also going to share with you the sign-up form for the Bounce Back program, so you guys can get enrolled. What that's going to do when you fill that out, it's going to let the Home to Go team know that you're interested in connecting. It's going to let the CiiRUS team know that you're interested in connecting. We have a joint team, the effort that's going to reach out and from both sides get you connected in a short and seamless fashion. So check it out. We'll share that information with you on the landing page. And for today, I think that's it, guys. Pleasure is ours as always. We appreciate all the feedback that we get on this webinar series. So if you have a topic you'd like to see more about or any questions about the content, you can always email us at communications@ciirus.com. And as always, you can go back to watch our past webinars and register for the next upcoming webinar at any time on any device. You can go to webinars.ciirus.com and see more information. So on that note, this is Josh Parry, CMO of CiiRUS, on behalf of Brian Hamawi, my co-host, VP of Marketing, and Rachel Tabion from Home to Go, thanking you and signing off until next time.
Thanks, guys.